Добре, седна, няма значение.
Тогава това е... Добре, сега чакам.
Дай да пишем аргумент.
Ако ти го ще е по-добре ти става, защото винаги това ти става. Нулата е първа и втора и седма и осма.
А тук са 3-4-5.
Да. Тъй, че не знам какво се трудно.
Извинете, хора, просто не знаех как се движи.
Няма никакъв проблем.
Къде са другите два?
Да, някой знаеш другите два.
Може да другите два отбора.
Това не.
Ти почти.
Някой да има екстра.
Аз че знам. Така, двор номер 1 на мен. Кой е учи, бе?
Колджи.
А, де са?
Кофио и Дария.
Да.
Някой знае ли?
Не, ти си от другата страна. Ти не ли си там?
Обаче много киселото млеко.
Киселото мляко не е.
Да ги кажа къде е баш, не? Някой има ли номер да някой?
Да, може да. Мисля, те пак са тези ганевци на моите. Сега ще ги...
Какво да стуля, бе?
Не, бе, когато се изгането?
Да, бе, кусне, ти не ли?
Къде сте, бе, хора?
Беше в коридора долу.
Ти си тук, бе, Петре.
Няма да ме станеш, да знаеш.
Аз може би не съм го взела. Аз не знам дали ще
Аз нямам телефон.
Само може би благодаря, супер.
Блъскай там.
Имаш ли начин ли сте? Един и това. Не знам да се чакаш.
Колкото напишах те. Трябва да има ясен.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the semi-final of ACS 2025. Congratulations to all that have managed to break and come to this round. My name is Presan Mikhail. I'm going to be the chair of this round. And with me I have 4 wonderful wings who are going to introduce themselves now.
Hello, I'm Boris. One of the links.
I am Valentin, best of luck.
I am Viva. I am Mecca and I am Marie.
Okay, wonderful. So without further ado, I would like to invite the Prime Minister for his 7-minute speech here.
Okay, I will start in 3, 2, 1. Dear panel, in my speech you will hear this argument. If this policy will be accepted, the average person, or we, can enjoy our life and have better relationships and be happier. So, the first burden. Why a 9-to-5 job prevents us from being enjoyable and enjoy the life? So, the work is a really big part of our life. We wake up, we go to work, we spend a whole day in this place, and we think about problems about our work, how to solve these problems, and we just spend so much time in this place where we have to work. So we are there from the daylight, from our waking up to the moment when we go home, and we always think about work. What's the problem? How we can solve it, and such other things. And work is a really important thing because first we need food. Like without food we can die. So yeah, we should pay our taxes because that's the only way how we can exist. Because like otherwise we will be punished, and we don't want that. And on third place, there's our family. So we need to provide money for our families because we love them. So work is a really hard thing to do. I need to be focused the whole time when I'm process, and thinking requires effort. So I have the motivation to work good in case to become more money because they're important to me, to my family, and to buy myself like different stuff. And after work, I still think about my problems and the things that I have to do in my job place. So why we need better relationship? First, my family is the most important thing for me. So I want to spend time with these persons. Like this person, my mother had given me life, and I love her because of that. I love my dad because we spend time together, and he learned all the stuff that I know right now. So I love him because of that. And second, so that's our instinct. We exist. Because our families, so we still love them. That's just a basic instinct. And third, we're social animals. And as social animals, I want to spend time with people that are like, they look like me, they talk like me, they have interests like mine, and yeah. But why this type of happiness is more important than just developing a career? The average person can't really develop a career because, like, we have no connections in that way because we always think about work and how to solve our problems and how to become more money, and we have no time for the families that we love so much. And yeah, the average person translates their issues into their personal life because 9 to 5 is a lot of time, usually spent on something that we don't really enjoy, and we make it because of the money, and it makes ourselves so frustrated all the time that we go easily angry. And I just go home after like 9 or 8 hours of work. I got home, I think about all my problems, and I'm just talking to my family that I love, but I have other problems, and I'm just angry, and I just can't enjoy the relationship with them. But my family will usually accept that because like they love me, and when I'm angry with them and because of the work, they are going to say nothing about that. So why this policy will be something really helpful for us? We can give our best at work. Like, we aren't distracted by personal issues because of the anger that I have with myself at the work, and to win the most the biggest amount of money. I have to work in the most optimal way to happen when I'm not distracted by some other issues I have, like in my personal life. And we give our all because we aren't distracted, and the boss has no incentive to kick us. Like 9 to 5 jobs are usually low skill, or at least ones that there is high supply for. So why that's so much important? Like, first, we speak about happiness in our lives. So happiness for people is the most important thing in this motion, because that's why we debate this motion. And because like without happiness, there exists only work, and this can lead to depression because there are no social relations, and people are social animals. And if I can share my interests with my family, or with persons that I love, or with my parents, or just with basic people, I'm going to feel really depressed because I think only about work, and I don't think about my like instincts that are to be socialized. So this can lead to burnout because we already, what I already said, we think only about work, and we cannot feel happy, which is really bad for people because they feel exhausted and unproductive, and that's really bad for the employer because he cannot just we don't give our best at work, and that's really bad for him because in other wises he can just be more. He can have more money because we work harder and better and we are more productive. Yeah, so we talk about people's happiness and people productiveness, and that's why we should win this debate. Thank you.
Хора ще имат малко небачка както трябва, защото в момента снима салфетките зад него. И освен това се зумва и...
Супер много, като се опитаме да влезем и...
Нещо зумва и пак...
Някой да езика просто.
Отворете го на нещо друго.
Не, самия Wi-Fi ти път инсталирам.
Не, то проблемът е, че
Ако
нещо...
го махнеш от поставки.
Ето това се
А,
вижда.
чакай. Оправи го.
Да, сега са.
Трябва малко да зумиш.
Добре, Христо, пишете на този, ще изкараме на реч, той докато дойде.
Само да питам, някой гледал ли е сериала в този дебат?
Никой.
Добре.
Ще да така малко не сте гледали.
Ще гледам така, че Рибачов го гледа.
Той не ми съдейства.
Кой е този? То се зумва автоматично.
Да, ние да ти кажеш.
Да, Severance.
Ето, не мога го правите.
Коцев трябва да го прави.
Е много зум, обаче вече не е толкова пикселирано.
То проблем е, че или се зумва и се зумва и после се зумва. Човек се зумва и пак се добре до доставката, пак се зумва.
Не знам дали е.
Пишете, ако се дойде.
Нещо върви да ще
Пише цела замисла.
Фермерски баклаш е по-силно.
Окей. Мога ли да започна?
Просто не пиши.
Да, да умрем малко назад.
Окей,
Не забема повече.
Ми да, реално това време.
Добре.
Чакай малко.
Гледай, ще удръпне менталното. Ще се пак звучи.
Отворете си гледате с това, какво ще дойде.
Така. I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Dear panel, notice how your innie, your work life, will feel absolutely terrible all the time. Firstly, this is the majority of your day. This is from 9 to 5. This is the majority of your day, and therefore, with the arguments presented in this speech and in Petri's speech, you will feel terrible for the majority of the time. So why will you feel terrible? Well, firstly, you're likely to be exploited. And how does this look like? So maybe you don't even know exactly what you do. So in the series, they don't know what they're actually doing and what their job is, and nobody is telling them. They do some kind of mystical thing that they don't know nothing about. Also, they're not telling you about. You don't know about your family, your friends. You're not sure if what your employer telling you about your personal life is true, and things like mistreatment, making you overwork, sexual harassment in the workplace. These things, there's no way for you to report it, and I'll tell you why. Firstly, why is the incentive for the employers to actually exploit you? Well, firstly, they have to get the most out of these people to make the most profit, to make the most money, and also notice how they're probably higher ups that make them do it, and those higher ups have even less empathy for the workers because they don't work with them, and they're just some kind of board that doesn't see these workers and focuses on the overall well-being of the company. But also notice how there is probably not a lot of supply for such workers, so they need to make the most out of these people because why isn't there, on the 5th minute, why isn't there firstly a huge supply for these workers? Because this is something you don't know about. It's something very that requires a lot of expertise to understand it. It's a surgery or something that surgically divides your memory, severs you, and also a lot of people are just secure in their jobs and aren't willing to do it. Therefore, they need to make the most out of those workers, and also they're probably make you sign a certain amount of years that you have to work, because there isn't a lot of demand for these workers, and because they need to be sure when they spend a lot of resources on getting you severed that they'll get work out of you. So what is their ability? Well, firstly, there is actually no way for you to know if messages from the innie, from your work life, get to the outside world. Why? Because you're surgically divided. You don't have any memory of the outside world or of the inside world. Therefore, when messages get sent from when you want to tell something, to communicate something from your innie to your outie, there is absolutely no way for you to know if this gets actually authentically communicated. So you can't make complaints, you can't signal anything to friends and family, and also there isn't a lot of there probably isn't a lot of activism around this kind of thing, because it seems irrelevant when you talk about the rest of the problems happening in the world, like war and hunger, and also it affects a very small group of people. So it isn't really a concern of any modern activist movements. And as already mentioned, nobody cares about it, because it's also probably promoted as a good thing, because the only person who can talk about this procedure is the company itself. The employers don't have any way to verify with the outside world the employees, and also when you can't get these messages out, and the only person who talks about the working environment is the employer, what happens is that the working conditions are not improved. You don't have any way of actually signaling a complaint. Maybe your employer is overworking you, or it's not giving you the pay that you want for the work that you're doing. And also notice, okay, yeah, go on.
Notice that the fact that this worker has the choice to do so means that the government is not subservient to corporations and can regulate them.
Okay, but notice how there isn't this natural connection between the employee and the employee in the innie, the employee inside the workplace, and the employee outside. So the person, so the people from which change has to start, can't actually start it. The government, even if the government does some checkups and some things, it doesn't have the incentive to do regular checkups, because this is a small group of people, and this is a highly secure. No, I forgot the word. Okay, it doesn't have the incentives to do regular checkups, because it doesn't affect that much people, and also it just the innies and the outies usually. Moving on. I'll talk about this question later. So secondly, why is this a stagnant environment that probably does not fulfill you? Well, firstly, you do the same thing over and over again all the time. You meet the same people all the time, and these people, why are you likely to not be fulfilled from the social contact that you get from them? Well, firstly, it isn't really a real friendship. You don't feel like you like the people, because people are simply different. It's very unlikely that you actually meet somebody who you really, really like and can spend all of your life with these group of people. But secondly, even if you like them, you of course have some downs and ups with them. And when the times when you don't like the people that you're working with, you have absolutely no way to restart and to take a break, because you're there all the time as the innie. You don't have a personal life, and you don't have anything else that you do. And it's important for you to like them, because you spend all your time with them. Those are the people that will make or break your job, that will motivate you or not motivate you to work. Also, the social contact from the most important group is absent, your family. You don't know nothing about your family, and you don't have any contact with your family. Even if you have, it's probably for a very small amount of time, purely because purely because there is no incentive for you to actually spend time with them during your work life. And for all these reasons, opening opposition.
Thank you for this wonderful speech, and I would like to invite the Deputy Prime Minister for his 7-minute speech here. И разчитайте просто по средата малко.
Някой да дръпне стима назад. Да.
Назад?
Да.
Не, бе, реално е толкова зле, бяхме това толкова.
Така?
Дай малко. Не,
Насам?
да.
Към нас го дай.
Да.
Окей, само
Ако искаш.
Не, отзад. Тук е и мега забавен, че е окей. И отгледаме от
Сега вижте ли се?
Но сега няма се
Да,
чува.
Последно решете какво ще река.
Правителството ще субсидира, понеже правителството субсидира компаниите, ще бъде нещо такова. Това ще е много фантазия.
Okay, I'll start in 3, 2, 1. First, I want to reframe the debate. We're specifically talking, or more so, restate our opinion. We are specifically talking about an average 9-to-5 worker. We are not talking about a doctor that works 9 to 5. We're talking about the person who can be easily replaced, because average 9-to-5 workers, what do they look like? They might be plumbers, they might be electrical technicians, but not the super expertise type. The ones that work at I don't know and come to fix your router, for example. What this means is there is a huge supply of them, meaning they're fighting for a low space, for a limited amount of jobs. Which means that they will simply be exploited again on their side, because they give incentives for why employers want to exploit employees, but still the limited capacity is another reason for why they can decrease their wages, as there is a huge supply of workers that are seeking for a job. Otherwise, we wouldn't have people that don't have an average 9-to-5 job. But now, as some rebuttals about what they said. First, about the fact that no one will overlook your security job and stuff. It came from an POI, but I will restate again. First reason as to why this is not true. The government can obviously regulate it. Not everyone will go through this procedure, so there will be people that are conscious that some other people have undergone it, meaning they will know if they're suffering, if they're being exploited, if they're working for very low wages, if they're being overworked and stuff like that. But second, notice you still have close people that haven't undergone the procedure, meaning that once you get back from work, they will know to some extent what happens at work. Not because you told them, I'm not going to call them first, but simply because they care about you. They will probably care about how you're treated at work. But even the more egoistical reason is the fact that if you're being exploited, if you have a family, for example, you might not be able to provide them as much. They will get interested in why you're suddenly earning less. They will go to your boss and talk and advocate for you. And thirdly, there will always exist NGOs, there will always exist movements that try to fight, how is it in English? That will try to fight things that are unjust in society. About the other part, because this is a direct clash for us, because you say that happy relationships and time spent with your people is the most important in this case. They tell us you will not have fulfillment from the social contact. Why is that not true? First, as we said, you meet people you love. This can be your family, this can be your friends. What does that mean? It is someone who you obviously want to spend time with, that you might have known for a long time. It's not someone that will irritate you easily. But secondly, at the very least, okay, one day I suddenly hate my family because for unknown reasons, because they never state the reasons. You have the energy to meet new people because you don't have that burden of your work life. You're not constantly like thinking, oh, my boss yelled at me, or oh, I'm not advancing because advancing in corporations is hard. You have all that left aside, you don't know about it, you just know, okay, now I have free time. I can go spend it the way I want. You still have money, I'm just stating that, so you can actually go and enjoy stuff you like. But thirdly, when you're at work, because that was mentioned, that when you're at work, you have no contact with your family. When you're at work, you don't know your family exists. Why is that actually helpful on our side? Because you don't care about them. You don't care about your friends, for example, and stuff, because you simply are not conscious about how they feel or stuff like that. So if your boss comes and tells, oh, your family is dying, you'll be like, what family? I mean, it is illogical to mix the two worlds when the info slide clearly states it is not possible. Okay, okay, but another reason why, if you don't go under that procedure, you just have worse relationships. Well, you will be constantly complaining about our job. Why will we be constantly complaining about our job? Because, as they stated, 9 to 5 is pretty much half our day. Lots of stuff happen here, lots of stuff that we probably are not content with, but we can't actually state that we're not content with them, because if I, for example, yell at my boss will say, go off yourself. I mean, my boss has the capacity to do so because, as I stated earlier, there is a huge supply of workers that want to work that average job. But secondly, he doesn't want someone that is like being bad with them, or that someone that can potentially start a sort of rebellion within the company. Because, you know, if one is not content, another might resonate with him, which can accumulate to a corporate anger within the corporation. Okay, but now a bit about the impact. So I guess the impact, because at least I never heard it, I guess the impact is that you will never like advance in your work life. You will never get better conditions and so on. So this is first, it is hard to advance in the first place because, as I stated in my first speech, 9 to 5, huge supply. Second, corporate bureaucracy. And third, the bosses don't have the, you don't have the contacts of like the bosses to advance. So it is like a bit symmetrical in both worlds. You won't succeed in like getting a better job. The difference is that in our world you get better relationships with the people who matter the most, your friends, family, which means we because we don't translate work issues with our personal lives. And it is far more important because we love these people and don't want to hurt them at the very least. Because when we mix work life and personal life, we can hurt them because we're constantly complaining, or we're expressing our anger at them because we can't do it at work. But secondly, we have the ability to do things that we love, hobbies and peace time and all these things. Because we don't have the mental burden caused from problems at work, meaning no subconscious thoughts that we can be working more, that we can hate someone at work, so we just spend our time more freely and more happily. And it's more important because at the end of the day, happy moments with our closest people is easier to reach than career development. Thank you.
Thank you for this wonderful speech. I would like to invite the deputy leader for position to close down top half here. Whenever you're ready.
Social byť. Keď mi prázdno pôjdu bez toho. Skúšaš posme že tak môžu
Okay. I'll take a few eyes from closing. Three, two. The main clash in upper half is work life versus personal life, like which is better. The moment we prove that when your work life is much worse, your personal life also becomes much worse, we definitely win on upper half because they only have arguments about personal life, so we win the clash decisively. But okay, let's just go over this really quickly. Firstly, I'll just repeat what Mia said because they question it, the guys, even though it's intuitive. But okay, why will employers manipulate and make sure that this is done in a really bad way, panel? Several reasons for this. Firstly, I want to characterize what do employers want. They want profit, guys. Why? Firstly, they want to buy more stuff. I want to buy a new house. I want to buy a new yacht. I want to buy a new car. I want to buy, I don't know, something more for my family. But second of all, I want to climb the corporate ladder. The moment I bring more income, management is going to notice me at the top, and it's more likely that they're going to promote me, like as an employer. This is what happens, panel. Like, this is really intuitive, meaning I get even more profit, panel, in the long term. But third of all, it's just personal fame. Like if I get a lot of money, this means like I'm a very good employer. I can just go to other companies and say, look, this is what I did, hire me please. Like this is all about money. Okay, now why does this specifically, why does this procedure have the give lots of potential profit, meaning that they have the incentive to do it in a really bad manipulative way? Firstly, efficiency. Notice, you can lock the person, I don't know, for a little bit longer than they're allowed to, like maybe not 10 hours, but 12 hours panel or 14 hours. There's no way they will know, like this is pretty intuitive. They can't complain because they don't know anything about this. Like it's much more efficient because you work more. But second of all, notice, you can't complain. When you go outside of work, you cannot go and say, oh, my boss was miserable to me, he made me work more than I had to, he abused me, stuff like this, meaning that you have no call-out mechanism against these bosses. This is really important. This is the delta in this debate. Okay, now, in terms of capacity, guys, what do you mean the government can just regulate this? This is scandalous. Sava, I'll take you later. So, firstly, notice, Ano, I just want to make it clear, companies do this in the very first place. So this is the one thing. But I'll just explain why companies have a lot of power, because again, they question it. Firstly, companies have insane lobby power, dear panel. This is quite intuitive. Why? Firstly, they finance campaigns for politicians. They finance, when the government needs money to do projects, they also finance it. They finance a lot of things because this is what corporations do, panel. But second of all, notice that like many rich people often are influential and like get seats in, I don't know, political systems or something. They do have some kind of influence, panel, and this is strong influence. But this isn't their best case. Notice that you can just hide it, panel. How is the government gonna know if you're manipulating these people? It's really easy. Like, you're just not gonna scream when you see that the government employee is there. You're not gonna scream at them for a day. Then after the government employee isn't there, you're gonna scream at them again. I think this is quite intuitive. I think it's quite easy. Like, they need to prove why the government has the ability to send it absolutely every single workplace a guy who can watch and make sure that everything goes away. And they also need to explain why this person can simply not be bribed. Like, these people probably aren't paid a lot. Like, probably you can give them a cash of money and they aren't gonna care that much. I think this is pretty intuitive now. Okay, bottom line is, employers have an incentive to do this in an incredibly bad way. Like, this is gonna be really terrible. How does this look like? This looks like, as we already explained, abuse. This looks like forcing you to work extra even though you aren't paid for it. This looks like, I don't know, being forced to do work you didn't sign up for. Like, I don't know, going and cleaning the toilet. Even that's a meme example, but like, something like this. Okay, so what? I would just go on to the competitor. Why do, on our side, 9 to 5 workers have a lot more power? Why can they lobby the government using trade union, using labor unions and stuff like this? And this is comparatively more powerful than what they can achieve on their side. Firstly, notice, panel, you can share your pain with other people. Why do you have the incentive to do this? Well, because you feel bad, Pano. We have a need to share our feelings, our emotions, our troubles with other people. I'm just gonna tell my mother, or I'm gonna talk with my friend, work sucks, this is really terrible, I don't like it. And he's gonna be like, yeah, this also happens with me. This is like absolutely the same. Meaning you both have an incentive to share your troubles, and you both have the incentive to do this. Why? Firstly, you want better life. Like, this is pretty intuitive. Like, most likely the moment you are abused, you have a terrible wage, for example, or you're screamed at by your boss, you most likely don't feel really well, Pano. Like, you most likely feel really bad. But second of all, notice, like, I don't even know why I'm spending time on this point. Like, if we want to question why workers want better rights, do so. It would be funny. Okay, but why do they have the ability? Firstly, okay, we'll take their case. Let's say that there are many 9-to-5 workers in the second side. This means that there are many people that can work in this union. Like, this is really intuitive, meaning this union can be huge, maybe millions of people. We'll say that yes, there are 9-to-5 workers, millions of them. Okay, they'll band together, they'll work together. I think it's intuitive, Panel. And notice how these tips, the things that companies can do, because notice firstly that the politicians' most primary incentive is voters. Like, that's why they do campaigns, so they can take more voters. Meaning that this is logically prior to them requiring money. So the moment they have the opportunity to lose 1 million voters simply because these voters are mad because there is no change, most likely the government will have to concede, most likely going to have to not enforce regulations, but at the very least say that they have these rights, which means that they have the ability to do a lawsuit against these people. Yes, Sam.
If corporations are so powerful, why don't they lobby to make the procedure mandatory?
What? I didn't hear so. Okay, so a little bit of a rebuttal before we move on. Panel, notice, like they say that you think about 9-to-5 process. We think this is ridiculous, Panel. Why do you have the incentive to think about 9-to-5 job while you're in your personal life? Like, this is completely scandalous, guys. I'm gonna think about my friends. I'm gonna think about my family. Things that I actually care about. The moment they don't prove incentive, it's really intuitive. And secondly, 9-to-5 isn't that terrible. You just write numbers all day and you go home. Why do you need to overthink it? You are the CEO who needs to decide strategy on what company he'll buy or what stakeholder he needs to do. Like, this is ridiculous. Meaning that you most likely don't think about 9-to-5 job, meaning that you most likely still feel better. But okay, let's say that you feel absolutely terrible in that side of the world. Comparative is extremely clear. Let's say that you feel terrible on both sides of the world. However, the moment you feel much more terrible on our side in the workplace life than on the personal life, because you still have rights, you can still go and talk with family, but now on our side you don't have even basic rights, then the comparative is extremely clear. We are much better off. So.
Thank you so much for this wonderful speech. Now I would like to invite a member of government to open up the bottom house here.
My little pony.
Okay. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Panel, unlike OO, we are actually going to prove that we win both on the innie and the outie clash. We don't need to weigh them really because we win on both of them pretty easily. First of all, why are like going? Okay, first argument is very simple. You like to have much better job prospects on our side. Like, realistically, you're either going to be fired or demoted, or you're going to become redundant as a worker if you don't undergo this procedure. Like, this is pretty obvious, and several mechanisms how this works. First of all, generally, you're more productive. Like, well, 2 reasons why this is the case. First of all, you don't think about out of work shit. Like, you're not going to be distracted. You're not going to watch YouTube in your little cubicle because you don't know what a YouTube is. You're not going to be distracted by watch. You're not going to be distracted by something that you take interest in your outside life because that does not exist within you. So simply by that, you're likely going to be more productive if you undergo this procedure. Secondly, work will be a more important part of your life. Well, because like it's the only thing you know. That is the only thing it means later, Patrick. Come on. Like realistically, it's going to be a more important part of your existence because it's the only thing you know while you're at work. Which means that professional success means everything to you, and you're likely going to be as motivated as possible within it. Okay. Okay, that is okay. 2 reasons for that. Second mechanism: employers, even if you don't buy any of this, employers will probably think that this is the case because they have invested in this procedure. They have calculated. They obviously have the ability to understand, to find out whether this has a return of investment for them to invest in such a costly and possibly risky procedure, and for it to be work and on the net be more productive. So, and also there will be obviously be a narrative that people who undergo this procedure are better workers, because for a corporation to have the social consent, the consent by society, and for it to be socially acceptable to have this procedure, that means they would have to constantly invest in propaganda that makes it more palatable to the individual. Okay, what is the bottom line for this? Sure, why not, Patrick?
Guys, this is a meritocracy. The positions remains the same. So meaning if everyone gets more productive, there's no delta.
There is obviously a delta because we are talking about a specific person. There are realistically going to be people who don't take this procedure and who take this procedure. From the standpoint of such an actor, it is worse. Like if you don't undergo this procedure, like we're talking about an average 9 to 5 worker, I think there can be a spectrum of 9 to 5 workers, some of whom prioritize on this axis, like some of whom they prioritize. This is something better. Okay, but realistically, there are going to be workers who prioritize professional success and are going to undertake this procedure, even if the average 9 to 5 worker isn't. And there are going to be people who won't undergo this procedure no matter what. We're in the middle of this. We're in the middle of this spectrum. Okay, what is the bottom line for it? You're likely going to be fired, or at least not get any promotions within work, because first, by the numbers, you're not doing that well. Like there is no reason for them to be to promote you. And secondly, like you are not your boss is not going to like you because you didn't undergo this procedure. So no matter whether this is a good or bad thing, socially you have no choice. You are the average person who has the qualifications for an average 9 to 5 job. This is your only choice for you to have more money. And there, 5:30, I think. Okay. Okay, what are the impacts of this? That means you have less money in your out life. What does that mean? You can spend, if you don't undergo this procedure, you simply have less money because you're either not going to have a job or your job is going to pay less. This means that you can't follow, this means that you can't do anything you really like. Your food will be of worse quality. You're not going to have such a nice house or apartment. You're not going to be able to afford things you really like and are luxuries to you, etc. Secondly, you feel redundant, useless, like a stranger in a world where everyone else undergoes this procedure, where there is a narrative that that you have to go this for you to be a good worker. You're going to feel like a stranger within society. And this mainly deals with the clash of personal life, simply because if you don't have a nice job, you're not going to have a nice personal life, because you can't do half of the things you want to do. Second extension, you feel better at work, and this is very important because this fundamentally changes the way you think. Elaborating on that, okay. Three mechanisms to which 3 problems in their world and why you feel like shit if you're there. Okay, first of all, you may be distracted from problems in your normal life. Like generally, if you have some problem in your personal life, your girlfriend broke up with you, whatever it is, you're likely going to dwell in it and think of it, and that's going to reduce your productivity. Secondly, you're likely disappointed from your job if you work a regular 9 to 5. Few people want to work in a cubicle at MTEL. No, sorry. Few people want to work in a cubicle at MTEL for 9 to 5. There, I will take you, POI.
Okay, if the company can see your personal stats about how well you're doing, how will they gaslight themselves that the program is working if it isn't?
I have no idea what meme extension you're going to do, but you're not going to prove it. Okay. Okay. Thirdly, you're going to interact every day with people who have undergone this procedure, and you feel weirded the fuck out that these people are behaving like robots because they have undergone this procedure and don't know anything in the outside world. Like there will also be this feeling of loneliness and being not understood by your colleagues because these people will have undergone this procedure. Okay. But why is this fixed in our world? Everything you do is within the work is within the context of work. Every piece of positive reinforcement you've gotten is in the context of work. Every bit of pleasure or happiness you've had is within the context of work. All you know is work. You're not going to feel shit at work when you're likely going to be to be all you know. Like realistically, also the person will psychologically have ways of coping with the fact that all they remember is working the whole day, and they will recontextualize what they feel as good and what they feel as bad if they're within the context of work, even if it isn't done unconsciously, as we just said. So what does that mean? You generally just feel better at work, which means that you're not like which completely flips their argument. Like you're going to feel good because you like what you're doing, because that is the only thing you know. Everything good and everything bad happens within it. Thank you.
Thank you for this wonderful speech, and I would like to invite the member of opposition here.
Dear panel, by the same logic, I can just do this procedure and forget my school life so that I can, I don't know, go to Harvard because it's very productive or something like that. Imagine, basically, my school life is my whole life. My school life is where I get friends. My school life is basically where I develop as a person, and it would make absolutely no sense. I would basically ruin my life by just doing that, because after I go home, I don't know, I'm tired. I don't do as much things. I'm not productive. I don't know. Basically, our winning argument is that the moment that you go under that procedure, your social life is incredibly limited, and that is basically the whole thing, something that affects you the most in the debate. But first, why are you so affected by the social life, specifically to your workplace? Because notice, dear panel, you're very used to socializing specifically in your institution, not anywhere else. Why? Because that's basically how you grew up. First, you were in kindergarten, that is where your friends were. Then you were in school, that's where your whole life was. And then you were in university, and that is where your life was basically. Meaning that workplace is basically an extension of all that. Most people don't have much many friends around. That is outside of those circles, and even if they do, they're kind of not so such close friends, because they cannot spend as much time as that, because people have different schedules, right? They have different schedules, and I don't know, your friend who doesn't go to the same school, or your friend who isn't in the same workplace as you, just that person doesn't exactly. You cannot meet them as much, meaning that you cannot socialize outside of that. Because outside of that, you have to talk to people who don't spend half their life with you, because notice 8 hours are half of your conscious day. And those people probably don't even understand you as much, even if you started to go out with them, even if he bought you and they had the time.
because I don't know, you cannot talk to these people about anything that you know about. And if you went under that procedure, you won't have anything to talk about to them because you don't do anything basically. Yes, why you can socialize in this kind of workplace either, the moment that you go under that procedure, because when you're this innie, you're not close with those people, right? Because one, you don't meet them outside of working hours as an outie because those people are just strangers to you. But two, as an innie, what you do is you just sit next to them from 9 to 5, and because your boss has so much control over you, not you, not them, will basically do anything to socialize with one another. And you know also nothing about them because they don't know anything about them either. Their outie has nothing to do with you either. This is very important, your panel, because the moment that you spend basically half your life not socializing with anyone, and you spend the other half of your life also not socializing with anyone, because that is something like very new to you, right? You don't have any friends outside of that, and you cannot find any more new friends because you have nothing to talk to them about. And also, you're not used to making new social interactions with people who don't spend half your life with them, right? Because, for example, I'm very used to finding new friends because I have this one tactic. I can just be like, oh, this teacher, he's very annoying or something like that, right? And we talk about it for hours and then we get close. But the moment that I don't have anything to talk with them about, I don't have the social skills to find someone who is so different from me and the way we spend our time. And basically, why is that different on our side? Friends on we have friends on our side because in your workplace you can actually make social connections because of three reasons. One, you bond over common needs. As I said, you have similar complaints, you have similar struggles, challenges, etc., and most of the time people bond those kind of things because I don't know, they're kind of more deep than the small talk other people can talk about, and they're kind of affect you more, and you want to get this validation that they experience the same things as you, and secondly, you meet them every day. You remember meeting them every day. I don't know, you bring them coffee, they bring you coffee sometimes. It's instant affection. When the moment that I see someone's face every day, all the time, even if we don't talk to one another, even if our conversations are not as interesting, still this face is familiar to me. I kind of trust it more. I kind of, I don't know, like this person more. And thirdly, and most importantly, you're likely to go out with this person after work, outside of working hours. This person is probably going to be at your wedding as well. Why? Because the moment that you're in this workplace and you kind of like this person, you want to experiment to see if you can actually be friends. Probably after work, you don't want to go straight home because sometimes you're just annoyed with things, how things go at home, and you go to the bar together or something like that. And that's something very fun because the moment that this happens, you bond even more because you have all those things to talk about, right? And what are the impacts of that? Well, you lead a lonely life because it's not a lonely life. Because on the other side of the house, the outie, his best friend is probably his mom because he doesn't have any other friends. Because he isn't an interesting person, he doesn't have different perspectives of things, he cannot talk about different topics, right? And he has no sense of achievement as well. The isolation is something that is very, very bad for you because work friends is something unique because they experience the same things as you, they have the same challenges, they understand your profession, and they have the same jokes as you. I don't know, in debates we have certain jokes, probably in workplaces they also move in different circles and have their inside jokes as well. And remember that the innie is also a human being. He's not a machine, meaning that he also experiences something like isolation. He also experiences loneliness, which is obviously linked to depression, which is obviously going to affect his life as well. And remember, hormones and chemicals and things in your brain stay, right? It's something that is always a factor.
Speech. Now I would like to invite the government whip to close down their bench here.
Дай с телефона.
Просто си натискай екрана. Държи го в ръката си. Или си направи сетингите, така че не ти изгасвам всеки 5 секунди.
Сега ли да ги направя сетингите?
Да. Или вчера.
Имам снимка на вас, че съм виждам.
Ние ветувахме целият И по всеки си
Тя вече е много
Тя пита за вас специфично. Да. Защото брекнахте. Че това
Не си искаш да го Само аз исках да те бия и ти си дома към. Това не ми е скучно.
По диагонал даже.
Читай се.
Има ли истории, че по-рано колежа на полуфинал?
Къде е 4?
Чакай,
Три и половина.
Повече с колежа.
Той от колежа, ама от Ловеч.
идеята е, че ако...
Не от колежа.
Клас 3.
Чакай да си смислим. Мани, без интро. Така. Да. И... Okay, dear Pam, we're the only team that actually impacts both of the worlds, workplace and personal. This is why we correctly on Wayne beat everyone. But I will now proceed with refutation towards the closing composition. What is the argument practically? The social life is limited. Why? Because you don't socialize at work. Okay, look at what my first speaker said. When you're at work, in your innie, and you're working, the only thing that matters to you is work and how you perform. So practically, you don't care if you have any social connections there, and they don't bring you neither joy nor bad feelings. So this means that on workplace, this is completely irrelevant. But notice what they say then. They experience the same thing. You have to connect to them. People connect based on work experiences. Okay, this is not true. People connect based on personal experiences. You obviously go along with someone that has the same personal experiences and desires as you. So this means that we have a lot of alternatives. We have hobbies. You may like books, films, and etc. So this means that we have an alternative in the personal life. That means that you will be able to make social connections there. So this means that if you're able to make social connections outside the work life, this means that you finally have the ability to socialize in the outside world. So this means that we give you an alternative, and you can't really say we give you an alternative for socializing, and I also say why socializing at work doesn't even matter. Some even proved why you feel better at work. So, okay. The impacts. You don't lead. Their impacts is that on their side you don't lead a lonely life. Okay, a lonely life. Okay, I proved to you why we have social connections outside the world. We have hobbies and etc. They say that we have no sense of achievement. Okay, Sal proved to you why you will be more successful at work. Obviously, if you're more successful at work, this means that you will probably get much more income, will be more richer. This automatically means that in your personal life, you know that you're performing better at work, so you have this sense of achievement, even if at your personal life. You need work. The final thing they say is that in experiences isolation, this is not true. I already explained. You don't care about the other people. I'll just make a final refutation. In this quote, they say that you can't know anything about the other people because they themselves don't know. Okay, so first they just Okay, I just want to finish with that. I go to opening composition. What the whole argument on opening composition relies on this thing that Peter said. He said government can do checks, people. There are no checks. If he says that, he practically means it not only for this but for all things. So why actually there are checks? So firstly, obviously the government don't want to explain people. Why? Because it loses votes. So even if people exploit it, even if people that are exploited don't see that they're exploited, other people see that. Other people see that person who stays 2 hours more. The closest to this person see that he gets 2 hours later. They see that he is exhausted from work. They see that he is exploited. Obviously, they will put a signal. They will put it to the social movements, to the non-government organizations that are fighting against it. Why we would have later? Why we will have such organizations? Well, we have such organizations because obviously if this happens to be a problem, this means that so other people that are not affected by it, because no one proves that everyone are affected by it. So we just say we are going to be this person with a couple of other exceptions. So later battery 5 and 30. So we can just put a signal to the authorities, to the government, to the non-government organizations. So just a second. So okay, if the government and non-government, if the government doesn't do anything about it, it just loses votes. And the thing that Peter says about it is that rich people that control these companies are influential. Okay, if the government loses votes and no, they're not going to be elected on the next elections, they're not going to be elected, they will obviously help themselves and not listen to the rich person. And this rich person, he is also impacted by it, because if this government that he can be influential in doesn't get elected, they will again lose power. So this also is not true. So final thing he says, during checks you won't do it. So firstly, this is not only happening with checks. Just second. It's not only happening with checks. We also have movements, and we have when we have signals and we have these allowed signals, this will obviously become problem. POI.
Okay, firstly, why are these movements effective, bro? Like I tell you, you can just go on strike and you have literally no employees. This is really effective. And secondly, notice that employers have a huge incentive to separate you from your family and friends.
They can't. This is like I already proved when they can't be that scandalous. If they do that, obviously the friends and the people that are outside of your life, they will put it to the government. And even if we don't submit this signal to movements and etc., the fact that we signal to the governments and to the authorities, and this obviously becomes a problem, this will be something massive. And also when we have medias, guys. If the government doesn't do anything about it, the medias are obviously going to engage with it. Why? Because they want more profit, they want to be etc. Okay. When again, I repeat, when with the CO we impact both. This is when cover. We're the only thing that actually impacts the whole world, the personal life, and the work life. So we're the only team that engages with both and proves a delta. The CO just engages. Oh, no socializing. I think this is only about personal life. They just Sab actually flips their argument, so they don't stand. I also refute it, so they don't stand. And even if they stand it, they only impact the work life, and I don't know what they say. We just extend them. They just say about personal life they feel better. Thank you.
This wonderful speech, and I would like to invite the opposition to finish this wonderful debate here.
Румен ми каза да не си солиш с отборника. Кажи му, че се справя много добре.
Не, виж, не брат, като е така...
Защото вече
Мария Матева веднъж каза, не бягаме с Оливия.
Румен ми каза, започнах да се карам на София Опен.
Тя повече тя си като трябва да си най-големия хейтър на това. Ама това реално е така. Да, така е.
Трябва да си хейтър, ма не пред него.
Не, напротив. Аз нямам какво да кажа за теб.
Само позитивно неща.
exactly one piece of constructive, one additional mechanism. There's no point of making team building exercises the moment they don't remember the team building exercises after work, so they won't have the ability to socialize this way. Okay, cool. The moment on our side of the house, the two people are one, we inherently impact both of the houses. The moment the overall life is better, I know what you mean, but also we explicitly say you feel socially isolated at work because you don't have as rich of a connection with your coworkers and the people you spend 8 hours a day with that you could have done outside of work, which you cannot because you simply don't remember them. Second of all, obviously your social life outside of work suffers because like 8 hours a day you're just not socializing when in the other world you would be making connections. Oh yeah, what else tells us CG? It's the personal that makes the connection, not the work. The work is personal. It's like 1/3 of your life you spend at work. Everything personal that happens to you happens at work, my guy. When you go home, you just go and watch Netflix. That's not very personal, in my opinion. The moment you spend 1/3 of your life at work, and the moment these are the emotional highs and lows of your life because like your boss is a dick, and like you made a great project, or like this is very stressful, whatever. This is obviously the most emotional and important part of your life, and the only people who can directly relate and know what you're talking about when you're talking about your bosses by name is obviously your coworkers. The moment you can't socialize with them after work, you lose this avenue. This is an obvious problem. Okay, what else tells us CG? One by one. No, later. Okay, actually, no, I'll go from opening first. The whole opening half does not know what a 9 to 5 is. 9 to 5 is you do Excel spreadsheets, my guy. You're not a plumber, and you're definitely not like a mysterious esoteric worker doing dark magic. I'm pretty sure you can look out of the window and like what OO says and just see what the world is like. I'm pretty sure you have basic communications in the world. That's actually relating to CG. I'm pretty sure you also know what YouTube is like, because how the fuck are you gonna do Excel spreadsheets if you don't know what YouTube is like? You don't become a social imbecile that has no idea how the world functions. It only like sees numbers. I don't think that characterization actually stands. Like the moment you do that, you will probably be able to like have some bare bones communication. This is my biggest problem with OO. First of all, their characterizations are fucking insane and probably relies on the TV series which I have not watched and have no and like right now have no desire to watch after this debate. But furthermore, like I'm pretty sure you're still with the same body. If you're that desperate, if your exploitation is that bad, you can stuff a note in a condom in your ass and your real life person will see it. You can get a message with a carrier pigeon on your chest, on your underwear. I don't fucking know. I'm pretty sure that you're not in like a mystical bar to which messages don't go to. You're able to do it. Second, there are no movements that are interested in like workers' rights. They explicitly say that about unions. Unions exist now. They exist beyond the realm of 9 to 5. They see how this could be potentially exploitative. They have influence in their explicit pro-worker parties in parliament. This is probably not actually true that nobody gives a shit about this. Third of all, I genuinely do not think that making a strike is as easy. Let's do a strike. First of all, you need a strike fund with which you gather enough money to like actually last through a strike. Second, you need to make sure that you aren't just getting replaced by 9 to 5s. And like making a union isn't just like bitching to your coworkers. Like that's just bitching to your coworkers. Doing a union is actually a pretty heavy administrative procedure that like does a lot of legal stuff and the shit. And also like every mechanism where your boss oppresses you, your boss does union busting as well. I don't think they're realistic. The moment we do something like a bit more like realistic, we're over them. Okay, OG. The less stressed you are, the more likely it is to have social energy. This is the basic point that both governments say. And like, here's the thing though. I don't think you switch bodies. Stress is a physical cumulative. Your body keeps count. Like if you repress a trauma, that doesn't mean it doesn't affect your sexual relations with your partners, right? Even if you don't remember your daddy diddling you, that still has an effect about how your relationships go and how that affects, etc., etc. That's an analogy. If you don't know, like the basic point is the moment you give a stress 8 hours of your life, a switch doesn't actually change. You feel the physical pressure of the work inside of your bones. You just don't remember why. This goes a step further as well. I do not understand why you will be more productive just because you have no distractions. Why? Thinking is hard. People hate thinking. Thinking is 20% of your energy consumption a day, and people don't even think that much. You cannot be focused 8 hours a day. It is physically impossible for most people. I don't understand why you just won't be distracted with a fidget spinner, like doing something with your hair tie, and like just like your mind spacing out. Like the moment you have like no distractions, you will probably still be looking at your coworker and talking with them, etc., etc. Second of all, I do not understand why productivity leads to significant amount of monetary raise, or like why that is actually genuinely significant in the world of people. Like, okay, you do 20 spreadsheets more than the rest of them. So what? You're just a more effective worker. If they can pay you the same, they will pay you the same. It doesn't really matter. The moment all of this is true, I don't understand firstly how you're more productive at your job, which is both government benches points, but also I do not understand what energy you're conserving, because suddenly you just have a black hole of 8 hours you cannot socialize about. Therefore, you're just like a deeply more uninteresting person because nothing in their life happens. So once you go to the bar, what the fuck do you talk about? Like normally you break the ice by actually bitching about people in your life, talking about what's happening, and when you like don't remember 2/3 of your life because you're either sleeping or at work, your life is suddenly deeply meaningless. What is it? What song you heard on the commute to work? Absolutely bullshit. No. So the moment all of this is true, what we give you is like a very concrete avenue of bettering your life. You have the ability to make friends. You don't have to like make friends with all of your coworkers. You don't even have to like most of them. The moment you are able to have a social communication that is emotionally and like I don't know, spiritually, what the fuck, fulfilling with these people, that is an impact that obviously has the difference to both of these lives. That's why we win this debate. Please vote here.
Thanks for this wonderful debate. Now leave the room.
Дебат. Дебат.
Вот ето, оправи се с стрима. Има да. Оправи се с стрима.
Да, Валю, може ли да ядем тук?
Ако?
Може ли да ядем тук в стаята, не?
Ми, може, да.
Окей, може ли някой да донесе пица?
Ще ви донеса пица. Това може... Колко искате? Една.